경기 좀 끝났습니다. 1세트 대결의 시작합니다. GSL.
Welcome back to the GSL Code A. We just saw Alive defend his title, taking out the newcomer first, and he will actually go on to face against Complexity's Ganji in the round number 2. And whoever wins that match will face against whoever wins between Killer and Parting, which will be a pretty tough match for Killer. It's a PvP and it's Parting of all people.
That's not going to be easy. Killer, though, in well, against PvP, exactly. That's going to be the big problem for Killer, but he played very well in today's games in the morning group, so we will see if he's actually up to the challenge, but against Parting, it's not going to be easy at all. Right now, we are facing... well, we have one StarTale player facing... I actually just slipped my mind, sorry guys. He's actually facing YoDa, the second LGIM player. Oh my god, I just drew a blank there. Julizerk is up against YoDa, and here they are.
Yep, here are the stats. Now, YoDa has been around quite a bit. Very well known for his ghost play, in fact, rushing Cloak oftentimes in Terran versus Protoss, but this is not the matchup he will face. He's going to be playing against July, a veteran, StarCraft 1 and StarCraft 2. This guy's going to the military soon, but he is going to try to go out with a bang. And, you know, this guy is very well known for just constantly attacking off of 3 bases until either he or his opponent is dead.
Especially in the matchup against Terran. Today he's facing a Protoss player. The first map, by the way, is going to be Ohana.
Yes, it is a 2-player map, and July looking cheery as always. This is actually such a cool match between these 2 players. YoDa definitely a strong player from the team IM. You could call him a B-teamer, but he has been around. He hasn't posted as many results as Lucira, Nesty, or MVP, but he is definitely a skilled player.
Showed his skill in the GSTL as well, and we are off for map number 1. It is Ohana. This is the GSL round of 48. Today, of course, the Howlin' Wolf. At the bottom right of the map, we have our StarTale player in the red. It is
StarTale July.
You know, it's currently July right now.
It actually is. It's his month. Yeah. Is that an omen, Wolf?
His opponent at the top left, perhaps the oldest Jedi to have ever lived, or just an LGIM player. He is...
LGIM YoDa.
also one of the shortest Jedi to have ever lived.
Yeah, but well, this guy can actually bounce around like a rabbit on speed. That's the one thing that the last Star Wars movie taught us.
That is very true. Absolutely.
You probably didn't like that, did you?
Well, you know, actually, I thought it was interesting. I enjoyed it. I'm actually one of those people, I'm sure I've talked about this on air before, but I think the prequels are not as good as the originals, but I like the prequels and I feel like they serve their role well. You know, they left me pleased.
Look at that.
Look at that.
I'm sorry to cut you off here, but this is really interesting. Nothing like Pool at 14 and then the transition into a hatch. The usual build that we see on all those maps against Terran. No, he's actually Going for pool and then speed.
Yeah, and this actually may be July doing something sneaky and aggressive. I would not be surprised if July Zerg of all people decided to go for 2 base banelings. Even 1 base banelings, it would be less surprising if July did this than, for example, well, almost any other Zerg, Life or something. And he is showing no signs of getting a natural right now.
Well, if you go for this type of build, you usually build the expansion a little bit
That's true,
later.
yeah. I'm just not used to seeing this anymore. This is crazy.
I mean, when you will usually get your expansion is around 21 to 23 supply, depending on how exactly you play it. But this speed first is something on 1 base that I haven't seen in ages.
It's pretty
you're right.
2010, you know? Like, it's hardly ever seen anymore in this matchup. It used to be seen in Zerg vs. Frost before fast expand.
My god, he doesn't... Well, okay, he knows that there's gas taken, but he doesn't know exactly what's going on, so he tries to hide it. But there you see the bunker coming up immediately. He's trying to wall off here as well. The position for the bunker is brilliant. We talked about this in the past. With the bunker position next to the command center, you can make sure that you protect your mineral line and the choke point at the same time.
Now, July has mined 28 gas and has pulled out completely. He may decide to put back in at any moment. If he does, I will let you guys know. But right now, it looks like he's just going to do a speedling expand against Terran, which is so rare these days. You know, usually if gas is taken at all in this matchup, it's a very aggressive build of some kind. Or it's a speedling expand, but speedling expands are almost extinct. It's like a 3-gate sentry expand versus Zerg. You just don't see that anymore. It's like something that nobody does. Or a speedling expand versus Protoss. Same build against Protoss was popular in 2010, but you just don't see that anymore. This is really interesting.
The thing is, there's a reason why you don't see it, because it's just proof that other builds are better. So, without any kind of follow-up with banelings or some kind of, I don't know, maybe even a fast tech, I don't really see what the benefit for him is right now.
He's lost mining time, and he's made 2 bunkers. So already this has paid off, but it's if he didn't actually panic this much, then it would not have been good. But actually, with the way things have turned out so far, July making only drones, only making 4 Zerglings after committing to the speed, and he may even get an SCV here. Look, he's forced the SCVs off the line again. This is actually ending up being worth it, and YoDa is so scared right now.
Of course he's scared. I would be scared as well. If I see a build like this, if I have those scouting information, no expansion, I definitely think there's going to be banelings. Baneling bust is the one thing that I immediately jump to, or some kind of a roach attack on 1 base, followed up by an expansion. But YoDa right now, he does... That's why he's building all these supply depots. Look at it. He's building 1 supply depot after another, and you're right.
eBay and didn't finish it.
This works, but it shouldn't work like this. And this is so weird. It's really funny because it's funny because it's true. No, usually with what July just did right now is he used a very old build that will leave him in a position where he would be better off with an expansion first because it gives him more economy. But right now he has gas and speed a bit faster, which does not give him any benefits in this particular game. But now we have YoDa just being so scared. He's not only building the 2nd bunker on top of the ramp, he's getting additional supply depots way too early, which brings him behind in mineral income once again.
Right.
And at the same time, he's building. Also, he has also all those SCVs that he had earlier, positioned right next to the supply depot so that he can repair. So this really works in July's favor, but it shouldn't. But it does.
Yeah, and at this point, he's even still got the 2 bunkers up that are going to be completely useless. He will likely start Cloak for his Banshees. It's starting to look like, based on how much gas he has right now, and he's got the Banshee going. No? Well, at least he's going to go Banshee before Cloak if he does get Cloak. We saw this earlier today as well. 3rd Command Center is going up with the real eBay that's actually going to be used for upgrades now. He's trying to compensate for his early weakness by taking that riskier 3rd Command Center without siege tanks. He's going to actually pick off some of these links. Nicely done. But no Cloak actually for the Banshee. He's going to go for the 1-1 upgrades first instead. And I think that's a better investment of the gas considering the state of the game we're in right now. We're already almost hitting the 9-minute mark. To go for Cloak at that point would be actually absurd.
I'm still baffled by the fact that July was able to completely fake out YoDa here. That is really funny. I like it. It's funny, and I don't know. It's really something that I haven't seen in ages. Yeah. I really want to know if he intended to fake him out, if that was really what he was going for, or if it just worked out this way.
I think it was his plan. Otherwise, he would have put back in gas faster, or at least as soon as the SCV scout was killed. To me, it seems intentional, although it's so odd.
The problem is, well, do you actually... Can you remember when he pulled those drones off? Did he pull the drones off after the SCV died?
Before the SCV died, I believe. But
so he could have spotted it.
Yeah, it's possible.
Then I think it was not intentional. If you want to completely fake him out and you know there's an SCV, then you will just mine gas and make sure that he sees that you are mining more than the 100 that you need for speed.
That's a good question, I would like to go back and check that.
I will definitely ask him later. That's definitely something that I want to know here. But well, right now we have a mid-game evolving. We have currently 3 bases for July. We have double base for YoDa. July is going for a spy attack. This is exactly the build that he usually chooses that we talked about earlier, where he tries to stay on 3 bases, making Ling, Baneling, and Mutalisks work and going for these attacks. That's the style that he's known for. He's already going for the Baneling speed here.
Yeah.
And YoDa is obviously aware of this. He knows. He's seen so many games of his opponent. He tries to make this Banshee work. So far did not really do a lot of damage, but at the same time he's already just focusing on this economy. And I would be a little bit surprised, yeah, there's the siege. The siege mode is being researched, also the +1 armor upgrade. And a second factory as we speak.
Yeah, second factory actually pretty quick. He's going to be going into, basically this build where you stay on 3 command centers really late. You make double tanks at the factory when you can afford it, depending on how many tanks you have out. And you do the same with medevacs. You make them if you need them, otherwise you don't. And then just produce somewhere between 10 and 15 Marines per cycle and continue to attack your opponent. And sometimes with this build, you just have no intention of taking it forward. You just continue to be really aggressive. Against, however, the style of July and the new clean builds where you can get the creep out very easily, it's a lot harder to execute this build. July, very heavy on the Banelings. And with the Mutalisk harass, it's going to make it harder for him to actually spend time harassing. And there's a Viking going down for free. He didn't actually even target the Overlord.
Yeah, the Viking dies here, and the Banshee will bite the dust as well.
No cloak on that Banshee. Boom.
But now YoDa knows. He knows exactly what he's facing. He already has turrets in position. He knows the kind of build that July loves, that he plays against Terran so often. And that's why he will be happy to just siege up here. If he is in a really good defensive position, July has the choice of either transitioning or of attacking. And if he attacks into siege up tanks and is not executing his unit control perfectly, he will end up losing the trade.
Oop, 1 Muta goes down there for free. Oh, I guess he's stemmed. You're right though, he's going to do just this. 22 Banelings coming out. He's going to put him up to 32 until he's only got the 3 queens, so that's why his creep spread isn't that good, but it does make a heart on the minimap, which I think is actually a little bit cute, but that's just the way that this map works.
We have
he's going to trap the Mutas!
Nah, not quite. He's not able to, he's trying to bait them out here. But the thing is, with the siege tanks that he currently has 5. He has 5 siege tanks, he's getting another one, he's sieging them up, he has to defend 3 bases. And here comes the scan and the main base, just trying to check if there is some kind of transition. Now YoDa knows that there is none. And is he building additional buildings to set a wall up? No, but the sensor turret.
Yeah, and he's about to get his first glimpse of this army. He does not have the watchtower, so he can't see it yet.
This should be no surprise to him.
There's double bunkers and the sensor tower there. Now he knows, but does he have enough? He stims his Marines and runs down to the 3rd base. That's so many Banelings, but the tanks are doing an insane amount of damage. They're well split, and look at this, is exactly what you talked about. With this many tanks, it's fairly easy to defend the Banelings.
But still, there are a lot of units left, and he didn't have enough tanks. One of the tanks was not sieged up on the high ground, and now he lost most of them. There are still the Mutalisks alive, and how many Marines do we actually have to clear this up? 22 of them, and of course a couple of tanks in the back, but still, they are not protected, and the Mutalisks snipe them. The reinforcements are the problem, and this is the one thing that YoDa might not be able to throw back.
Yeah, this is July's style right now. 7 more Mutas on the way. He messed up his Mutalisk control and loses a few. A turret may take out 1 more. No! The Marines continue to chase, but the supply now dead even. The worker count, 73 to 71 SCVs.
And July is actually slipping a little bit in his macro. Look at how many minerals he has. He does not have enough hatches to make this work. He's getting a macro hatch as we speak. Actually, it's a 4th base, but he needs a macro hatch for this. He doesn't have the lava. He cannot produce as many units. He is on 2,000 minerals. It's way too much.
Yeah, it's way, way, way too much. You know, this is a very larva-intensive style with the amount of Zerglings and Banelings that you have to make, but, you know, you got to make sure you hit your injects. You got to make sure you have those macro hatches.
Think about if we had a macro hatch already and a queen, how much more effective the second wave of units would have been. And, well, YoDa certainly traded well here, but at the same time, July could have done a bit better with a spot-on mechanics. As it is still, this game is still not over, and I love to see July actually transitioning. This is something that we have not seen in so many games that he played, but here is the one infestation pit. We will see the Hive, and we will probably see Infestors as well. I really like what he's doing here. Transitioning out of this build after the first attack. This is amazing. It's amazing because we've seen so many games where July just stuck to his build, stuck to his unit composition, attacked over and over again until he ran out of money and lost the game. But this time it won't happen. He will at least try to go for +3/+3. He will make the late game composition happen. And he's actually already building a few Spinecrawler at his 4th to counter draw play. Love it.
Really good, and in fact, he's going to take the base over here, the 3 o'clock as well. This is what we've talked about several times. If you double expand as a Zerg or expand, in close consecutive timings to each other, then you have 2 bases on 2 sides of the map. It's a lot easier to defend a 2-pronged attacks. And look at this. I mean, even if this attack worked, he would have another base up because he's taking the base up 3 o'clock. He takes out the Queen, which is the most important part of this attack. Yeah, he lost all of his Marines, but he did take out the Queen, which means less injects for July, and he really needs those. And a split push actually coming down here from YoDa, leaving Julyzerg a little bit heartbroken as he starts taking out the creep on both sides.
YoDa playing this well. The defense was already really pulled off quite impressively. He did not siege up the tank on the high ground fast enough. It would have even been a little bit better. But he knew what was coming. He built the sensor tower for this one single reason. Now he's trying to drop at the bottom right. Got shut down. But this is really a nice push forward. This is the momentum we talk about on Antigua very often, that the Terran player tries to get into this position, and this is exactly what YoDa currently does. He stims forward, tries to get those tanks into a position. YoDa with a great play here, but July with all the money that he has, and this is he actually able to make this work. We have this one Thor, the God of War, is sending his units in. His minions are on the move, and the tanks are nearly gone.
Yeah, they are. The tank's getting a lot of hits off on those Banelings, but it may not be enough. July takes a 15 supply lead here. Does decide to pull back to take out these medevacs. Does not want to attack any further, knowing that siege tanks may be lurking behind the bushes. He's actually going to go around the left side, trying to avoid the sensor tower for as long as possible. He finds no reinforcements, no drops, and he's actually going to fall back here. And YoDa evens up the supply, and his 3-3 upgrades are finishing with +2 for siege tanks as July starts +3-3 and an Ultralisk Cavern. So July has to be very careful with how he fights, because if YoDa gets one cost-efficient engagement, the counterattack will be really, really difficult to hold.
The 5th base is up now for July, while YoDa is expanding again, taking a 4th. The Spinecrawlers not in position when they should be, just trying to get... here come the Marines, and those Mutalisks. The Mutalisks have to be very careful, being targeted down by the Marines manually. This is not really efficient for July at all, but once again, 1,400 minerals for him and 2,000 gas in all these engagements. He just does not macro, and this could be his downfall.
Yeah, this is starting to be a little bit of a struggle for July. He's down in supply now. 11 Marines coming out of time. He's making 54 Zerlings. That's going to put him up to about 100 if these Zerlings do survive to fight the next battle.
And I'm so impressed by how YoDa keeps his minerals low. This guy never has more than 100 minerals. It's insane.
Yeah, he is absolutely insane. Few tanks do get cleaned up, and YoDa is pushed back here. The expansion survives, and the expansion on the right side is up, but YoDa has his own 4th expansion, which is a planetary, and his production is not stopped. Like you said, he keeps his minerals low, and he's doing what most people do on 3 bases as Terrans on 4. So he can actually add additional production facilities, consistently make 2 tanks at a time. He's already switching to the Marauders for the Ultralists that he knows are going to be on the way. And this is really going to be something that July struggles to deal with, because if he loses 1 or 2 engagements with those Ultralists, that's too many resources lost, and he's not going to have enough to defend. He's not hitting his larva injects well enough right now either.
I don't like that July is getting the Pathogen Glance upgrade this late, because Ultralists highly depend on him using fungals too. And of course YoDa already knows roughly what's going on. He's switching into a more Marauder heavy composition here. And YoDa is playing this game really well so far. With the 4 bases that he has, it is a great position. He's getting all the upgrades that he needs. And July, he improved on the play that he used to show. He improved on the style that he has shown over and over again by taking to tier 3, adding Ultralist and adding +3/+3. But he's been criticized quite often, and for good reason, I think, because of the strategies that he used. Right now he switches it up a little bit, but without the Infestors, I'm not quite sure if he can make this work. Not if YoDa uses the kind of unit control that he has displayed the entire course of the game so far.
Well, this attack is going to be so scary for July. He has to hold here. He's making a bunch of banelings right now. He's going to put him up to a total of 26. Just a small group of Marines is all YoDa needs to attack this hatchery. He can fall back to his siege tanks. July is going to go for a flank, though. He's going to sack the hatchery, pulling his drones away. He's coming in with a ton of Ultralists, but YoDa is ready, and he's got quite a few Marauders in the mix.
Oh, the Banelings are nearly gone. Great split here by YoDa, and YoDa is starting to focus fire those Ultralists, but there are too many. There are just too many Ultralists. The army supply 20 in 20 supply advantage for YoDa. July lost a base though, and he's now down to 4.
And he should not be sending these Ultralists alone across the map like this.
No, he shouldn't. And the problem is at the 5th, 4th position that he has, he does not have gas. He's going to run out of gas eventually. Right now he still has 700, which is fine, but if he continues to produce Infestors, which he should, and tech units, then he will run out of gas, and that's going to be a problem for him.
You're absolutely right, man. And this drop in the main is going to be so difficult to deal with. It is going off right now. He's actually not targeting anything with this, but the drop is also occurring at the natural. He may target down the hatchery or potentially the Ultralisk Cavern. He's going for the Spire, which means no Broodlord switch, nor any mutas to shut down potential further drops. This one Ultra is fighting at the natural, and it may be taken out. He does lift, but look at this, Calder. This second wave of YoDa units going to the only real mining base of July is going to be so difficult to deal with, if he even does at all.
Great split here by YoDa already, trying to dodge these fungals, doing a good job. And look at the Ultralists, they get taken apart. July dropping in supply, and YoDa going in for the kill of the Terran player with great unit control here. Once again, aiming for the base at the right side of the map, and GG!
YoDa taking out July in game 1. July looking strong with his opener. His opener was scary, forced a lot of lost mining time. YoDa reacted though, and then prepared very carefully with the sensor tower and additional bunkers at his 3rd base, held the aggression, and from there just kept putting on the pressure. July could not hold on to it for long. He didn't have enough larva.
That was the problem after the first fight, and even though I like that July went to transition this time, I don't think, well, the problem in the first fight is, why would you ever attack a Terran player that's already has 6 siege tanks on the map with the sieged up, the bunkers, everything. YoDa knew what was coming. Maybe he misjudged the early game when he thought that July would go for one base style, would go for either a roach push or a baneling bust. But later on, he did everything that he needed in order to be safe against the style that July uses. And especially in a team like Incredible Miracle, you can bet that everyone was training with YoDa, that they tried to emulate the style that July was playing, and that he knew exactly where he needed to set up his tanks. The problem that he has was 1 or 2 of the tanks were not sieged up yet because they just came out of the factory. But if you had a good look at where he positioned his tanks, they were spread out so well
spread out.
It was so well done. And July...
That was one thing that I really want to harp on about YoDa's play, was every engagement he made, he was so well split. He was able to dodge fungals so well. His tanks were very well prepared. Even his bunkers were really well split.
July could have done more damage with more lava for the second attack. The follow-up just was not as strong as it could be,
there
because
was
he lacked
that
the
one
lava, but
engagement
still.
where he threw away a lot of his mutas as well against the Marines, and that really shut down his drop defense.
I like July's playstyle, but it wastes too much. It's too wasteful. He never trades cost efficient, and that's the problem that he has, that we already saw the resources lost. But well, the next map is going to be Metropolis, a huge map for this Terran versus Zerg. July versus YoDa, game number 2.